On one particularly hot day in Florida, a man named Jeff Longo spotted something unusual lying on the sidewalk. It was an animal, but he had no idea what kind. After carefully picking up the tiny creature, he determined that, whatever she was a newborn, and she needed help, fast. Was she a rodent? And if so, what type? She was definitely a mammal, and she was a little bit furry. Jeff wasn't totally sure what to make of her, but he decided to give her a name anyway. World, meet Biscuits. Those who learned about the little creature told Jeff that she would never survive. Not only was she too small and weak, but she appeared to be an orphan, meaning her mother would never come back. And it was clear that she needed her mother or else she'd never make it. As Jeff cared for Biscuits and watched her grow, he realized that she was a flying squirrel. He couldn't just bring her to a shelter. Jeff became utterly determined to prove everyone wrong and do everything he could to help Biscuits thrive, somehow. Thankfully, little Biscuits was pretty determined to survive too. Even at such a young age, all animals typically have a strong survival instinct that kicks in almost immediately, and this teeny squirrel was hanging on. Finally, it happened. She opened her eyes. Where it had once seemed like Biscuits was a goner, it was clear that she was actually getting stronger by the day. Whatever Jeff was doing was working. Still, there was a long way to go. Luckily, Biscuits had Jeff's love and support. Their friendship was growing stronger by the day, and it was helping the tiny squirrel to recover her strength faster than he ever could have expected. Taking care of Biscuits wasn't just Jeff's responsibility, he also relied on help from his dog to provide additional affection. Luckily, the pooch seemed happy to have another furry friend around the house. Jeff learned as much as he possibly could about properly caring for Biscuits as she grew older and more energetic. Since flying squirrels are not domesticated or commonly kept as pets, it wasn't always easy to do. Nonetheless, Jeff quickly developed a routine. For several weeks, he would bottle feed Biscuits some nutritious milk every few hours in order to keep the squirrel healthy and strong. After what she'd been through, she definitely needed all the help that she could get. Jeff quickly fell in love with his new friend, and he devoted all of his time to maintaining Biscuits' health and nurturing her. He might not have been a mother squirrel, but at least he was able to offer food, shelter, and warmth. Soon, Biscuits was learning new tricks, like how to skateboard. Look out, Tony Hawk, there's a new pro skater in town. And she just might grow up to be able to fly like a hawk, too. As Biscuits got bigger and her personality began to shine through, she and Jeff goofed around, a lot. Jeff would dress her up in silly clothes like this comically large hat made of folded paper. She wore it well, huh? Just look at those precious, massive eyes. How could anyone not fall in love with this cutie? She definitely looked like the kind of critter who could be the inspiration for her own cartoon. In time, Biscuits grew to be a truly beautiful and healthy little critter. Not to mention, she finally started to look much more recognizable as a flying squirrel. She may have been bigger, but she was no less adorable. Thankfully, Jeff was able to act as a surrogate mama squirrel for Biscuits, so she could thrive and grow into a happy and healthy flying squirrel. And unlike her wild brothers and sisters, she was definitely more cuddly. While Jeff initially hoped to return Biscuits to the wild where she belonged, he quickly realized she was too domesticated to be able to survive there. Besides, he and Biscuits were quite attached to each other. There's no way they'd be able to part. 3 months after Jeff found her all alone on the ground, Biscuits was about as healthy and playful as she could possibly be. Her new owner might have been winging it when he first rescued the flying squirrel, but he eventually became a seasoned pro at caring for her. Even though everybody else thought that Jeff should just give up on taking care of Biscuits on his own, he was able to prove them all wrong. Those same people must be surprised, and maybe even a little bit jealous now. Now, Biscuits and her human dad could play all day and be best friends forever. Hopefully, this means that there will be more adorable photos of their antics in the future for the world to enjoy. What a happy coincidence that Jeff was there at just the right time to find Biscuits. This has to be one of the cutest rescue stories ever seen.